Chapter 1. Signal in the Static. The rain lashed violently against the shattered windows of the abandoned Sanatorium de Saint-Éloi, the skeletal remnants of its Gothic architecture looming like a mausoleum carved from shadow. Thunder cracked overhead, splintering the sky into pale blue scars that illuminated crumbling corridors and rooms heavy with mildew, rot, and memories best left buried. Étienne Renaud stood at the threshold of a long-forgotten ward, his face half-lit by the pale glow of the ring light attached to his phone rig. Water dripped from the brim of his hood as he tilted his camera toward a decaying wall covered in mold-streaked graffiti. The livestream chat buzzed beside the video frame, comments rolling in fast. "Dude, this place is nightmare fuel. The Horla files are getting good. This is straight up cursed." "Behind you? What the hell was that?" Étienne barely acknowledged the comments, his voice hushed and reverent, like a man reciting a prayer in a cathedral of ghosts. "Built in 1874, he whispered in French-accented English. "This place once housed over 300 patients, those society deemed too dangerous to keep among the living. It was shut down in 1939 after a nurse reportedly witnessed a patient speaking in a voice not their own, in a language that—" The signal stuttered. The image fractured for a moment, lines of static ripping across the screen like claws. Étienne's voice garbled, then cleared. Étienne frowned, looking, and wasn't French, wasn't Latin, not even human. He smirked faintly, drawing his flashlight over a rusted hospital bed. Leather restraints hung limply from the sides, the buckles corroded, the mattress rotted down to springs and bone-dry stuffing. A bloated rat fled from beneath it, vanishing into a vent with a wet squeak. Étienne turned the camera to his own face. His pale green eyes were wide, shimmering with fascination rather than fear. "I'm not here to ghost hunt," he said. "I'm here to document the presence of the Horla." In the flickering light, the name alone sent a fresh wave of comments into the feed. "It's just a story, man." "Wait, is this that Maupassant story?" "Why is it always behind you, bro?" "Nah, something moved. I saw it. Don't lie." Étienne chuckled lowly and turned the camera again. "According to Maupassant, the Horla is an invisible being. Not dead, not alive, a parasite. It feeds on sanity, on sleep, on the soul itself. You don't see it, until it wants you to." He stepped into the next room, a treatment chamber. Rusted equipment lay strewn across the floor, a shattered sink, a cabinet yawning open, its contents spilled in a mosaic of glass vials and old gauze. The faint smell of mold mixed with something sweeter and older, like decayed fruit left in a crib. Another flash of lightning cracked. The signal dropped for 3 seconds, enough for the chat to explode. "Well, TF, WTF, W it moved." Pause at 12:38. "There's a shadow." "I'm screen recording this whole stream. You're going to want to see it." Étienne, oblivious to the chaos in the chat, moved deeper into the corridor. The light at the end of his flashlight caught a doorframe where something had been carved deep into the wood. He leaned in. "Je suis ici," he whispered. "I am here." The phrase was not part of the original graffiti. It looked fresh, too fresh. The carved edges were raw and splintered. Étienne reached out, brushing his fingertips over it. A blast of static screamed through the phone speakers. The screen glitched hard. For a brief half-second, the image on stream wasn't Étienne anymore. It was a blurred figure standing behind him, unnaturally tall, draped in shadow, its limbs wrong, too long and too narrow, like a spider masquerading as a man. Étienne jerked around. Nothing. The corridor was empty. Just rust. Decay. darkness. "You hear that?" he asked the stream, scanning with the camera. His voice was quieter now, no longer theatrical. I thought I heard behind you again. Some ethers in the frame every time the signal drops. Étienne looked at the camera. The edges of his confident facade had begun to fray. "Maybe the storm's messing with the reception," he muttered. He turned a corner into a larger room, a hydrotherapy chamber. The ancient tiled walls were flaking with black mold, and in the center sat a massive clawfoot tub filled with rainwater gone murky. Something rippled just beneath the surface. A low hum began to build in the audio, barely audible at first, then rising. Étienne frowned. "Is that coming from the live stream?" His phone screen began distorting again. The water in the tub trembled. "From the chat. That's not feedback. The sound is layered, like breathing and humming." "I'm out. This is too real." Étienne leaned over the tub. His flashlight beam danced across the water, until the light died. Click. Dead. His breath fogged in the sudden cold. He tapped the flashlight. Nothing. He pulled the camera closer, using the screen's faint light. It flickered violently. A ripple sloshed in the water. Étienne flinched back. Behind him, the silhouette emerged in full, only visible in the briefest digital flicker. Its face was a void, and yet somehow it smiled, the kind of smile carved by hunger, not joy. Étienne spun around, panicked, knocking his phone from the rig. It tumbled to the floor, landing at an angle, filming him as he backed into the tiled wall, whispering, "No, no, no," over and over. "Ah, damn, I'm sorry," the phone said. "Yeah." "What is it?" I asked, quickly tearing my gaze away. The chat became unintelligible, screams of followers spamming all caps. From the speaker, a second voice whispered, not Étienne's, deep, hollow, "Not of this world. Je suis là." Étienne screamed, raw and terrified. Black. The stream cut. Chapter 2. The Livestream Spiral. The days that followed the sanitarium livestream blurred into each other like ink bleeding through wet paper. Étienne Renaud didn't sleep, or if he did, it was not the kind of sleep that brings rest. It was the kind that drags you down into thick black water, where your name dissolves and nothing you see can be trusted. His once pristine vlogs, edited with clean cuts, ambient soundtracks, and eerie filters, dissolved into long, meandering monologues recorded at erratic hours. The camera shook as he paced. His hair was unkempt, eyes bloodshot and sunken. His voice trembled with conviction and something darker, fear. "I saw it," he whispered in one video, lips barely moving, as if to speak louder might invite something closer. It wasn't a camera glitch. It wasn't wind or shadows. It was there, watching me, standing behind me like it belonged. In the next clip, he sat in front of his computer, surrounded by open books, torn pages, and empty coffee cups. A rusted copy of Maupassant's Horla lay cracked open beside a salt circle smeared across his desk in chalk. Maupassant didn't imagine the Horla. He saw it. Just like me, just like you. He jabbed a trembling finger toward the lens. If you've been watching, it gets through the screen, through sound, through signal. Viewers couldn't get enough. His subscriber count ballooned. Fans dissected every frame, trying to spot flickers of the unknown. Some thought it was elaborate performance art. Others believed Étienne had simply snapped, an urban explorer swallowed by his own fantasy. But some stopped watching, too disturbed by what they thought they saw in the shadows. The distorted reflections, the unnatural hum in the audio. In one video, Étienne stood in his bathroom at 3:16 a.m. live streaming with blood on his face. A thin line ran from his scalp to his brow, red and glistening. "The camera in the ceiling," he whispered. "Not mine. Someone or something was already watching." His hands trembled as he held up the lens he'd pried from the plaster. It was old, dusty, but still warm, he claimed. Still humming. He installed cameras in every room of his small Normandy apartment after that. Night vision lenses, motion sensors. He lived in a cocoon of surveillance, surrounded by red blinking eyes that never slept. He barely left the flat. When he did, it was only to buy more equipment. Or salt. The footage grew stranger. In one nighttime clip, the camera in his kitchen flickered on, unprompted. The room was dark, lit only by the faint blue glow of the microwave clock. For 15 seconds, nothing happened. Then, the cabinet doors opened, slowly, one by one, not with force, with purpose, deliberate. Like hands, invisible, testing their own presence. A spoon clattered to the floor. Étienne, off-screen, did not react. The next morning, he uploaded the footage with the title, "They Test Boundaries Before They Enter." His most dedicated followers became obsessed. They combed through every second of night vision, finding inconsistencies. In one clip, his bedroom clock jumped backward 5 minutes, only to return to normal time after the screen flickered. In another, Étienne could be heard whispering in his sleep, but his mouth never moved. His descent was gradual, but unmistakable. His skin grew sallow, his nails bitten to the quick. He began referring to himself in the plural. "We see now. We are ready. We can't leave." Some viewers dismissed it as roleplay. Others begged him to seek help. But he didn't stop. He couldn't. In the most harrowing stream, titled Night Protocol 6, he recorded himself trying to sleep while surrounded by his camera system. 12 angles, night vision active, audio rolling. At first he merely tossed and turned, muttered unintelligibly, sweat stained his shirt. The fan oscillated quietly in the corner. Then something changed. At 3:33, one of the cameras glitched. Frame skip, screen tear. In that single corrupted second, something appeared at the far side of the room, a figure unnaturally tall and thin, as if a man had been stretched and pressed into the corner. Its body was all wrong, limbs too long, spine too curved, head too narrow. And its eyes glowed, dull yellowish orbs that pulsed softly, like bioluminescence in deep ocean blackness. Stood motionless, watching Étienne sleep. The next frame showed the bed again. Étienne rolled over. The figure was now closer, still, silent, just behind the edge of the mattress. Frame skip. Closer. Frame skip. Beside the bed. Frame skip. Bent over him. Its face was inches from his, eyes still glowing. The next second the cameras crashed, all of them. The stream ended with a deafening burst of static and an abrupt cut to black. Viewers were left staring at a frozen frame of Étienne, eyes closed, face pale, with a shadow over his chest that looked nothing like a blanket. When he returned the next day, he said nothing. No explanation, no follow-up, just a single post typed into the community tab. "Do not ask what it wants. It already has your attention." His final upload of the week was just one frame, a still shot taken from his bedroom night cam. Asian, curled in bed. Behind him, the silhouette, now unmistakable, its head slowly, almost imperceptibly turning toward the camera. Eyes glowing, watching, waiting. Chapter 3. Followers in the Fog. The infection didn't stay with Étienne. It spread, quietly, insidiously, through pixels and bandwidth, carried like a virus, encoded in ones and zeros, and it began to take root in the minds of those watching. It started as whispers, at first faint, just on the edge of perception. A girl in Marseille emailed Étienne's channel at 2:14 a.m. "I was watching your stream from the sanitarium again, frame by frame like you said, and I swear to God I heard someone whisper my name. Not yours. Mine. I thought it was the wind, but my windows are shut. There's no wind tonight." She attached a 10-second audio clip. In it, Étienne is breathing softly in the dark. Then there's a faint, sibilant hiss. "Camille." She hadn't spoken aloud during the video. She was alone, but somehow it knew. Soon, others came forward. Hundreds of comments flooded in across social media and video forums. "My dog won't go near my laptop when I watch Étienne. My mirror fogged up last night, and there were fingerprints on it. My hands were dry. I dreamed of Étienne, but he wasn't Étienne. His mouth was full of teeth. More than he should have had. Too many rows." A man in Belgium documented his descent into obsession through a 6-minute video. He recorded static on his television while Étienne's channel played on mute in the background. When he reversed the footage, faint images flickered between the frames, a door opening, something crawling from underneath a bed, a close-up of an unblinking yellow eye. He posted the video under the title, "I think it's following me." But hours later, his channel was deleted. No trace remained, not even cached. No one could reach him after that. Then came the night of the séance. Étienne, gaunt and hollow-eyed, appeared on his live stream wearing a red velvet robe and seated on the floor of his apartment. The lights were off, except for dozens of wax-dripped black candles flickering in a circle around him. His desk was covered in sigils scrawled in chalk and ink, some from ancient grimoires, others drawn with obsessive repetition. A Ouija board lay before him, its planchette shaking slightly even before he touched it. "I thought," he began in a whisper, "tonight, we ask the Horla to show itself. We invite the unseen to step forward." Over 50,000 viewers watched live. As Étienne moved the planchette across the board, his hands trembled. The camera zoomed slightly. The planchette spelled out one word. Voy. To see. Then, without warning, the candles around him blew out, all at once. Étienne's head snapped upward, his body rigid. He began to speak, but his voice had changed. It came in 2 tones now. One high and fearful, the other low, guttural, like something imitating human speech from within a throat too deep. "We see now. We are seen. We see you." Blood began to trickle from Étienne's nose, then from his ears. His eyes rolled upward until only the whites were visible. His body convulsed, knocking over the camera. The live stream tipped sideways, showing the edge of the chalk sigils and the twitching of his foot. Viewers could hear a wet, gurgling noise, then silence. After 2 minutes of a frozen frame, the stream cut. He was gone for 3 days. When he returned, Étienne was not the same. His face was gaunter, skin waxy and tight, lips dry and cracked. One pupil was permanently dilated, huge and consuming half his iris. He stared too long into the camera now, like he was watching not the audience, but something behind them. He no longer addressed the followers directly. His voice always carried that double echo, as if something else was always speaking alongside him, behind his teeth. He uploaded 4 videos in one night. None had titles, just timestamps. Each was only 20 seconds long. In one, he was crawling across the ceiling, upside down like an insect, eyes wide open. In another, the audio was reversed, and someone watching claimed they could hear the names of dead relatives spoken in Étienne's voice. The third showed his computer screen flashing thousands of usernames, random viewers, before cutting to black. The last was silent, just Étienne sitting, smiling faintly, as a shadow moved independently across the wall behind him. A week later, a popular reaction YouTuber known for debunking horror hoaxes released a parody response video titled, "Étienne is full of schlit. The Horla files are fake." In the clip, he played Étienne's seance video, pausing it at intervals to mock the production. He laughed, called it performance art. 36 hours later, his Twitter account posted a single blurry image of his face. He was screaming. His eyes were missing, sockets black and hollow, blood running down both cheeks. His final message was a voice memo. It was behind me the whole time. I thought it wasn't real. It saw me looking. Now I can't unsee it. I can't stop. The audio devolved into static. No one has seen him since. Then Étienne returned with a video. Not a stream, just a black screen with text, revealing the horror, 24 hours to go. The caption read, "You demanded proof. It's coming." His voice whispered over the final frame, barely audible, drawn out like the last breath of a dying man. If you're watching this, it's already watching you. Chapter 4. The Unseen Audience. The countdown expired at midnight. The thumbnail was black, a void where even the streaming interface felt drained of light. The title was unchanged, revealing the horror. Over 137,000 people tuned in live, pulled in by a mix of dread, skepticism, obsession, and something darker, something they couldn't name, but couldn't ignore. The stream began with silence. Not the clean absence of sound, but a suffocating, pressurized quiet, like the dead air in a sealed crypt. The video feed flickered for a heartbeat, then stabilized. There was no intro, no music, no spoken greeting. Only Étienne. He sat in a plain wooden chair in the center of a pitch-black room, bathed in a dim circle of flickering red light. His face was pale and expressionless, jaw slack, eyes glassy and unblinking. His dilated pupil remained enormous, devouring the color of his iris, while the other eye had turned milky and veined. His lips moved, slowly, constantly, forming no recognizable words, just a low, glottal babble. Something primal, wet. The camera didn't move, the lighting didn't change. Stillness. For 7 minutes. Then the usernames began appearing. One by one, rapidly. A cascade of glowing white letters on the left side of the screen. Darkwolf_92 has joined. Caitlin_Coldface is watching. N0T_AL0NE is watching. You are watching. You are being watched. You are seen. The last 3 weren't usernames anyone recognized. They weren't clickable. They didn't come from accounts. They were statements. Some viewers laughed, thinking it was ARG theatrics. Others noticed their usernames listed out of order, appearing on screen even if their accounts were set to private. A few received emails seconds later from their own channels with no subject and blank attachments. Then the reports began. First, lost time. A man in Toronto glanced at the stream clock, which read 07. The next time he looked up, the timer said 1:39. He had no memory of the intervening minutes, except a growing pressure in his chest and a feeling that someone had been standing just behind his chair, breathing against the back of his neck. A woman in Warsaw texted her friend midstream, "I think something's wrong with my face." She attached a selfie. In the image, her reflection in the mirror didn't match her pose. She was smiling. In another home, a child's pet hamster exploded, literally ruptured as it scurried past a laptop playing the stream. The camera feed from the pet cam glitched and froze, showing only a black figure crouched on the desk beside the corpse, thin fingers touching the remains. Soon it wasn't just animals, but mirrors spontaneously shattered in several houses. Some viewers posted videos of spiderweb cracks forming in real time across the glass. In each video, if slowed down and enhanced, the same shadowy silhouette could be seen briefly reflected, always standing just out of frame, always facing the viewer. More and more usernames flashed on screen, faster, overlapping. The camera became... Then Étienne finally blinked. Once, and everything changed. The audio exploded into a high-pitched grinding scream, like metal scraped over raw bone. Étienne's body convulsed, arms snapping backward, jaw dislocating with a sickening pop. His skin paled further, blood running from his eyes in thin, lazy rivulets. His mouth opened wide, impossibly so. Something inside it moved. A voice, not Étienne's, emerged. You wanted proof. You gave us eyes. You made yourselves the vessel. On screen, the chat froze, the username feed reversed, all names disappeared. In their place appeared a single message. You are next. Panic spread like wildfire. People screamed into phones, begging YouTube, Twitch, anyone to shut it down. One moderator, RuiMod12, with back-end access to Étienne's streams, attempted a hard kill. He later described what he saw before his account was wiped. There were two shadows in the stream feed panel, one for Étienne, and another, bigger one, bent over him. It was eating him, but not flesh. It was taking his shape, his breath, his memory. He triggered a system purge. The stream vanished. For 3 minutes, there was peace. Then fragments of the video began reappearing. Clips auto-uploaded across hundreds of accounts. On TikTok, Reddit, old abandoned blogs. Even some users' private Google Drives were found to have unrecognized files titled simply Horla feet move. They couldn't be deleted. They returned after each attempt, sometimes longer, sometimes louder. Then came the final flash. The screen flickered one last time during a re-upload of the stream's final seconds. It showed Étienne no longer sitting. He was hovering, suspended mid-air by an unseen force, arms outstretched like a marionette. His head was thrown back, his mouth was wide, screaming soundlessly. Beneath him, cast on the wall like a crawling oil spill, was the silhouette, fully visible now. 7 feet tall, emaciated. Its skin pulsed like a membrane stretched over liquid shadow. It latched onto Étienne's torso with taloned fingers and drew his shadow into its chest, slurping it like smoke. Étienne's body jerked violently. Then his eyes rolled back into his skull, and he disappeared. Not fell. Disappeared. The screen glitched. The last frame lingered. A single sentence burned in blood-red letters on black. This is not where it ends. Chapter 5. Static Stains. 3 days after the blackout, Étienne's channel returned. No announcement, no fanfare, just a single new upload titled I Am Not Alone, time-stamped at 3:33 a.m., the hour when shadows feel heaviest and reason takes a step back from the edge of the bed. The thumbnail was a still frame of Étienne, but different. Paler. Gaunter. His skin seemed thin and stretched, his features waxen and stiff, like a mannequin sculpted from memory. His eyes were both black now. No whites, no irises. Just pits. Viewers clicked with trembling hands, despite everything. Some claimed they didn't even mean to, it played on its own. The video began with a digital scream, a jagged wail of corrupted binary noise that rippled across the screen like torn flesh being scanned into pixels. Then came Étienne. He was seated in a dim room soaked in red light. The camera was still, but its positioning was wrong, too low, too close, like it was being held by a child or something imitating one. Étienne blinked slowly. His lips moved a moment before the audio caught up. "If you're seeing this, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." His voice was slurred and desynchronized, speaking just a beat before his mouth moved, as if he was reading lines someone else had written inside his head. "It isn't folklore. It's not fiction. The Horla isn't a being, it's a signal, a frequency, an infection of sight." His head tilted, twitching unnaturally, cracking like old wood as he tried to look into the lens, to let it in. Every frame you watched, every second you stared into the dark. The screen rippled. Faces began to flash mid-scent, flickering in and out like subliminal cuts. Not Étienne's face, viewers' faces. Random people, sitting in front of screens, eyes wide, mouths frozen in screams. Some of them began to glitch, twitching violently or distorting, limbs bending the wrong way, eyes shifting places on their faces like someone had shuffled the parts. One man's image appeared, then melted like wax. His skin peeled, bubbling, until his screaming skull burst with static. Another woman sobbed as a dark silhouette rose behind her, reaching into her chest, pulling her reflection out of the screen. Back to Étienne. His skin had begun to crack, flaking like old paint. Behind the fissures was not blood, but static, white and black lines dancing beneath the surface, leaking through his pores. The more who watch, the stronger it gets. You think this is a story. You think you can just close the tab. He began to laugh, dry, choking. But it's not in the screen anymore. It's in your retina. It's in your dreams. It's in the afterimage when you blink too fast. The image behind him began to shake, and for a moment the walls themselves seemed to be breathing, inhaling with a sickening wet sound, exhaling with dust and rot. Étienne reached toward the camera. His fingers were cracked and bleeding. They began to glitch, pixels tearing away in strips. Don't share this. Don't save it. Don't talk about it. Every whisper of its name is a breadcrumb. Every replay is a ritual. He began to sob, but the sound looped like a corrupted audio file. A laugh overlapped it. Not his. The voice, low, vibrating with hunger, spoke from within his throat. More eyes, more vessels, more doors. Suddenly, the feed warped violently. The screen twisted, stretching like rubber. For 3 seconds, the video was reduced to raw static. When it returned, Étienne was gone. Just the chair remained, smoking. Then the video ended. The comments were disabled, but the views kept climbing. Someone re-uploaded it to a mirror site within minutes, then another, and another. Each version was slightly different. In one, Étienne crawled across the ceiling, whispering viewers' names in reverse. In another, the screen flickered between viewers' webcams, even if they weren't on. One version contained a looping scream buried deep in the background that made those who heard it vomit uncontrollably. The original blog vanished 2 days later, and her trace scrubbed from the surface web. But the video still exists, lurking, hiding in archives, reappearing with titles like, "Don't watch this video." The Horla file, full version. Last words of Étienne Renaud. Some claim if you play them backwards, you can hear the Horla's name, but you mustn't say it aloud, not even once. Others say their screens bleed when they watch too long. But most damning of all, the viewers started streaming themselves, waking up in the middle of the night, cameras already recording, murmuring in that same dual voice. Some don't remember clicking go live. Some don't remember stopping. They're carriers now, like you, just before the corrupted video ends. Always, without exception, it shows Étienne one last time, staring directly at you, and saying, with a smile stitched from static, "You didn't stop watching did you?